And we're back on another exciting episode of Starfleet Boy, where we have a casual and informal conversation about Star Trek. And today we're talking about Star Trek Discovery, the premiere episode of season 2, Brother. And
why did you say it that way? Why did you say the premiere? That's high class. That's high stuff. That's serious.
I wrote this. I had time to write it.
Sorry.
Did you write it? He's right.
That's sorry.
That's correct.
First, I'd like to also say, since it is a time of celebration, I am celebrating. I don't think I'm allowed to say what this is on YouTube, but Nick probably has a clue. He just knocked off.
Oh.
I was just cheersing you.
Sorry.
Hey.
Sorry. It happened to the best of us. Sorry.
And Sean is the designated runabout pilot today.
Oh,
so
lame. Let me get my
so
drink
technically
out.
This video is not sponsored by Coca-Cola,
nor
but it's very nice to drink.
Grey Goose, yeah.
So
it's okay.
Happy couple days after Star Trek Discovery Day, guys.
Oh,
Cheers.
sorry, I already okay, here we go. Cheers.
Mm.
I think you mean happy couple days after the Star Trek premiere, I think is what you meant to say.
the premiere. It was so awesome to be at the premiere. You know,
was that a Picard impression you were doing?
I'm trying to work on my not angry Picard. I can do angry Picard. I feel adequately like to convey that he's very upset at you right now, Mr. Data.
Yeah, but that's not like standard Picard. That's Alone with Beverly Picard that you just did.
That's true. Yeah,
I was trying.
That's very accurate.
That is exactly what I was going for.
I like it. I like where your head's at.
Who doesn't want to be alone with Beverly or talking to someone?
I don't want to be alone with Beverly. Also, her son doesn't want to be alone with Beverly.
This is true.
Or does she not want to be alone with him? I'm just saying that kid's.
Yeah, well, you never really knew.
He's a weird kid. He's a weird dude.
The rest of my summary is
he's not as weird as door slamming Spock, right?
Control yourselves. Kid Spock was a special child. No,
oh, that's one way to put it.
He was.
Can we just call him Kid Spock? Hashtag Kid Spock. K-I-D.
Listen, all right. They've been hanging and banging, brother. Okay, that's a fact.
You know what? Sarek and Amanda have had 3 very special children.
Stop. People don't know what we're talking about. I
don't know what we're talking about.
I happen to know.
You called the video Star Trek Discovery discussion.
Listen, I happen to know from YouTube analytics
the Star Trek Discovery
audience...
premiere discussion, Sean. Okay.
Hashtag premiere.
The premiere.
Right. Hold on.
The line must be drawn at the premiere. Sorry, I'm done now.
That's a really I encourage there's always room for a Picard impression.
Which is funny because the movie in French is actually called Premier Contact.
Yeah, you would say it that way.
I would.
Yeah.
I would.
Yeah.
Mr. Impeccable French speaking man.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to hear my summary that I wrote or not?
Yes. Will you just
start? Okay.
Jesus.
Discovery is on its way to Vulcan.
Why are you so close to your microphone all of a sudden? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Because I have to do it softer. I'm doing my reading voice.
All right. I'm not going to interrupt anymore.
It's like when Burnham does the Cassini narration. Imagine it like that. Just that's the part of the show that I'm doing right now.
Let me interrupt this. Let me interrupt this action for a brief announcement.
Let me interrupt Star Trek for an art film. Okay, so here we go. Discovery is on its way to Vulcan when it's suddenly thrust into a crazy ass adventure surrounding 7, count them, red signals that appear as they are all of a sudden. They're just like boom.
Too fast to Discovery.
Yeah.
I choked on my own excitement there.
True professional.
These guests.
Meanwhile, Captain Pike decides to take over the Discovery because the Enterprise catastrophically damaged. Something happened, or someone happened to it. Someone may have sabotaged it. That's how William Shatner actually says that word. Sabotage. He does. I promise. You can look it up. It's the correct way to say that word because that's how William Shatner says it. So anyway, that's true. It's a true
I thought you were doing
a
a Kelvin Universe reference with the Sabotage song.
So,
that's what
wow.
That's what I thought you were doing.
Deep
I was
cut.
like, wow. Yeah.
I was also doing that. No,
you weren't. You're a terrible guest.
I've already sabotaged my summary, guys.
Yeah, you did.
All right. So, anyways, the Discovery decides to go to the location of this like signal red thing that the Enterprise was trying to investigate before it broke down, and they discover an asteroid that's hurtling towards, or rather, it's in orbit around a star, and it's like crazy, and there's all sorts of debris because it's constantly exploding, and there's gravity wells, big deep gravity wells and shallow gravity wells. And then Tig Notaro appears, and she's been taking care of these like really sad pathetic dying Starfleet officers, or rather maybe crew members, I'm not sure, just like random ranks,
just people that don't matter. So
that's sad to think about, but I think they all matter. There's going to be like a spin-off series about those guys. Watch. For sure.
I hope so. Yeah. Everyone's getting their own spin-off series.
Okay, a very artistic like short trick on the Bolian just hooked up to his heart.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's actually just
13 minutes of filming him just lying there, dude.
Just laying there. Yeah.
Dude.
I'd watch it. Yeah, for sure.
And then
it'd be awesome.
Cut to some space, silence. You're alone in space.
Yeah.
As long as Tig Notaro's there, I'm happy.
She's going to be in the background, like working on stuff.
Yeah.
You know, doing things.
I learned a lot
now and then she drops a comment like, I don't know if you're going to make it, but we'll have to see.
She's fantastic. Everything about her performance as this commander, or commander, what was that rank? Commander Reno?
Yeah, we're a true professional. Okay, did his research. All right.
Is she not just playing herself?
I think she's actually just
I think she's doing an
guitar. That's it.
I think she's doing an impression slightly of Janet Reno.
Space Notaro.
It's like Space Janet Reno.
Yeah.
But
that's
not many people. Not many people. I don't know. Maybe.
Well, it's not enough that her name is Commander Reno. So in the show,
it's true. It's true.
It's kind of right on the nose. But anyway, sorry. Continue with your
summary.
The summary.
Anyways, Commander Reno's like pretty awesome. She built this thing that flies around and has kids. And
wow, I really hope, if somebody hadn't actually watched the episode and now they're just hearing this fucking amazing description, they'd be like, what do you mean she built something that has kids? I don't understand.
It flies around and has kids.
Yeah, it flies around. It's this big and it pops out a bunch of kids.
Pretty intense, right?
I want to see that thing in death mode, though. Honestly, it was pretty cool as a guide.
It's a robot drone. Okay, just for people that didn't see.
I know. So. Yes, a robot drone, a thing that Tig Notaro created. Anyway, so
here we go.
So they save all these people by transporting them back to the Discovery. Like so many other times in Star Trek, we've used the transporters to save dying people. And
yes, that's very true. The same way we use cars to save people in our world.
But I was very excited about this way, and we could talk about it at length after the summary, which is almost over, I promise.
Yeah, this is going longer than the episode.
Sorry. Okay.
Oh,
we're
God.
in time. We've only been talking for 14 minutes. It's way shorter than my usual summaries. Anyways,
yeah, that's not a good thing.
That's true. You keep interrupting. God damn it. Anyways,
yes, Sean.
Fine. So the Enterprise, we find out that the Enterprise is beyond repair at the moment. They have no estimate on when it's going to be repaired. We rescue a fragment of this asteroid because there's some kind of like dark matter quality to the material of the asteroid that might be important towards making some kind of renewable energy source, which is interesting, but we know nothing happens because dilithium crystals are still in use by the next generation. So it's kind of weird. But anyways.
Yeah, it's not like there was ever... Is there an energy crisis going on? Because they haven't touched on that.
I could believe that there's an energy crisis in this time period. I feel like that was expressed slightly in the original series, but maybe
in
not.
Season 7 of TNG, it's established that using the warp drive continuously is destroying subspace.
It's subspace.
And so they tell everyone to go at warp 5 maximum. And so this, what they did here with the crystal, is they're going to tie it into the Picard show. And Picard will actually be working with a team of engineers to create a new energy source.
Into
a new energy source that is not the warp drive and that will not damage subspace. There you go.
I love it. I agree with that.
No, that's incorrect. That's 100% incorrect. What's going to happen is the asteroid in Discovery is going to start slowly expanding outwards. So that way in the future, the Picard show, the asteroid's actually getting larger, and then Picard has to go with Beverly on a medical ship.
It's a dried up tardigrade.
I think at the end of the episode where it finally expands to encompass the entire Discovery, it's going to explode, and then Captain Picard will come back in time and say, "Oh shit, I've done something, and now everything's different. This is all wrong."
He would say merde.
What's that?
He would say merde.
Not say shit. He would sacre bleu, merde.
Merde.
What have I done?
Earl Grey.
Yeah.
That would be amazing if Discovery just becomes the Picard show. I could then follow along with Discovery. I would be like totally cool with it. It would be 100% my favorite show at that point. So
you're crazy.
I am crazy. I love Star Trek, but
you're a crazy person. So.
Can you imagine though? He explodes out of it. It's like
I think that
at this point, it could happen.
Yeah.
Or he comes out in an ice, like frozen, and he's like, and they're like, "What is this crazy man that has come through this thing?" And he has no memory.
Freeze, called Batman.
Joe.
I don't know who I am or where I am, but the audience does.
Do you guys know what killed the dinosaurs? It was the Ice Age. Sean, don't get me started on fucking Batman and Robin right now, okay? Could we just not?
Hey, this episode was better than Batman and Robin.
That is a ridiculous.
Are we doing Wait, okay. One more thing for the summary.
Right. Yep.
Captain Pike decides to stay on board and be a co-captain with Saru. So that's awesome and interesting. Yes. And we'll see. Oh, and then
interesting dynamic. It is going to be interesting. You also missed out the very important vision that Burnham had. She saw the Red Angel.
And then told no one about it. Kept that to herself.
Thank you.
Like,
so and she hasn't told anyone yet.
We saw the Red Angel.
They've gone all the way back to where they were towing the Enterprise. And
she took a nap. And she's doing personal things. She
was really busy getting the asteroid, coming up with a special plan on how to slingshot an asteroid into the cargo bay and then catch it with a giant gravity well generator thing inside the cargo bay.
I have beef with that piece of technology, by the way.
Which technology? The gravity.
I have beef with the
instant gravity
with the small metal frisbee. That can then become deploy itself to become this huge ass thing. That's not how tech works in Star Trek. That's Mary Poppins right there. That's some magic.
That's some Iron Man shit. That's
some shenanigans. Yeah, we don't use vibranium, in Starfleet. So
it's called something else. It's called
adamantium.
It's the same tech as Captain Marvel has for her helmet. That's what it is.
It's deuterium. The Enterprise D's hull is made of deuterium because it's an amazing, epic metal.
But it doesn't unfold out of nowhere.
It doesn't work that way. Also, the helmet unfolds
the same way. So
the helmet unfolds. The helmet unfolds the same way, and so you could. It's not even justifiable for the metal. But then there's also the glass that deploys. Where does the glass go? This is ridiculous.
I think it is. Well, I think it is ridiculous, but I think it's being done for a reason. Still,
nothing in Discovery is done for a reason.
Inside of the EV suit at the top, there's a tiny little replicator, and in there, it replicates the helmet supplies as it goes over the person's head.
I love that.
Oh, that's why they're looking for like an unlimited energy source.
They're wasting it on stupid things like. And you know what? I thought to myself when I first saw the episode and his thing wouldn't shut, I said to myself, well, geez, wouldn't it have been a lot easier if you just had an actual fucking
if you had an actual on? You wouldn't have had that problem. You would have put your helmet on and then you would have ejected and it would have been fine. By the way,
we're calling that segment You're Welcome, Elon Musk, and I'll make sure to tag him because that was an amazing idea for how that should work, and I think Elon Musk might be interested. He's gonna be on Mars.
Pike's helmet is unable to like attach itself. Like it's not working correctly.
Right.
That's right.
And then Burnham develops an entire plan, which is eject him into space, but the helmet's still not on. And then exactly at the moment where she says go, his helmet comes on. But that's really lucky, right? That she could have just killed him.
Well, what I thought was going to happen was they were going to do kind of like a Guardians of the Galaxy kind of style thing where he was going to be blown into space and like he was going to be like, I can't breathe, you know, and I thought she was going to catch him with her ship and like she was going to put him in there. And then when she ejected, then I was like, what is she going to like hold her hands over his face? Like, what is she going to do?
Multiple times because I thought, okay, maybe it's the maybe it's the override ejection that they did on Discovery. Maybe that activated his helmet, but then said, no, that's not it because his helmet, he activates it by hitting it once again. Because
could the jolt of the eject have like caused the helmet to move down?
That's a very, very lucky guess. Now we know that Pike doesn't die because we've seen the rest of Star Trek,
right?
But
she didn't know that was going to happen.
In universe, they didn't know that. Like they haven't seen Star Trek yet.
Right, and she had no reason to assume that forcing the ejection piece of his craft would cause the rest of the helmet to go down. She had no reason to assume that. So again, I thought it was just going to be a situation where he was going to be exposed to space. So you don't die if you get exposed to space immediately. That's just something they do in movies, you know. But obviously you're going to get fucked up. But I thought he was just going to get fucked up for a little bit. And I thought that's what they were going to do. Like he was going to get injured and then she was going to have to take command of the mission. That's where I thought they were kind of going with that.
Well, she's already pretty much in command of the mission.
She's in command of the whole Starfleet.
She's in command of actually everything. She's pretty much in command of
she's
she did
president. It's fine.
She did stand up to Admiral Cornwall. It was pretty embarrassing.
Admiral Cornwall's a pretty lame admiral, to be honest.
No, she's not. I love Admiral Cornwall. She's my mother admiral.
Really? There are so many better admirals. There are so many worse admirals because they all, become terrorists.
I really think she reminds me a little bit of Admiral Nechayev. Like she's kind of
Admiral Bichayev. No, Bichayev always knew what was going on.
Wow, I like what you called her. Yeah. Remember, we're PG-13 on Starfleet.
She always knew it. You know what admiral I didn't like is the one that called Picard on Picard Day, and then she's all like, Captain Picard Day. He's like, I'm a role model.
That's Admiral Nechayev.
No, it's not. That's
sure.
a different. That's a different. I know for sure because I just watched this episode, and it's this old woman. She's like, I'm sure you are, and she like hangs up, and it's like, oh yeah, I've never had fun in my entire life. Better hang up the line. Like,
I want you to meet Picard, your newest boss, Admiral Evil.
That's right. Well, all the admirals are typically jerks in Star Trek. That's a fact. And they did keep that going in season 1 when they had that friggin' white dude on board the whatever that got his ship cut in half.
He was not a jerk.
He was a total jerk.
Really?
He was a total jerk.
He was kind of a jerk. Yeah.
Was he not like the hero that saved everyone? Wasn't he the guy that
he did catch them with his tractor beam, but he wasn't ass about it. He was kind of shitty about it, like, what the hell happened, Giorgio? And she's like, yeah,
and he totally got killed because he had time to be shitty about it. If he was just admiraling the right way,
I thought he had like sacrificed himself or something.
No. He was just standing there looking super uncomfortable in the uniform size he chose for that day. Looking a little
okay.
Little
Well,
chomp.
the thing is, they didn't actually, because he was only there for one episode, so they didn't
What's
actually
his name?
They didn't
Does
actually
anyone
make a
remember?
uniform for him. They probably just gave him Lorca's uniform, right?
He's Admiral Chonk, right? Is what he is. Okay.
Wow. What does that mean? He seems like Admiral.
He's a little chonky.
Okay,
Anyway.
that we're talking about the
I'm gonna
wrong
call him
pilot.
Admiral
We're talking about the new
Wad.
pilot here.
Yeah, the new pilot. The things that we liked. Let's talk about the things that we liked.
Pilot 2.0. I like the Pike speech. I think everyone likes the Pike introduction and speech. I think everyone can agree on that.
Yes.
He's on the bridge. He's telling everyone that
10
he's
points
Pike.
to Gryffindor.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Is he Gryffindor? I feel like he wouldn't be. Is he Gryffindor?
Pike is 100% Gryffindor. I'm sorry. There's no
I feel like he's Hufflepuff, right?
No. Burnham's Hufflepuff.
But
Burnham wants to be Gryffindor, and she's in Hufflepuff.
No,
she has Gryffindor envy.
That's why the sorting system doesn't work.
You know what?
The
official website Pottermore told me that I'm a Hufflepuff, and at first I was offended, and then I realized that Newt's in Hufflepuff, so I'm fine with it. But now I will defend Hufflepuff against everyone else. So I won't let you put Burnham in my house. Burnham lives with Hagrid.
Do you have a house, Nick?
I don't have a house. I should go on to Pottermore while we're talking.
You should get your official Pottermore house.
Official house, yeah, idiot.
If you're Gryffindor, can we be Harry and Ron?
Well, I don't like. Why do I have to go to Hogwarts? Okay, maybe I want to go to that crazy Russian school with everyone slamming sticks and stuff. Yeah,
you might want to go to the all girls school in France.
Oh, Battens. Oh, Battens is not.
Oh man,
not for me. But you can go there, Nick.
Yeah, you're not in Hufflepuff. You're in fucking trash Ravenclaw. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was a burn, Sean.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
What are we
I think I've told this story before. I originally got Slytherin, and then I wrote to Pottermore and asked to be changed to Gryffindor, and they did it.
You can't do that.
Harry Potter did it. Why can't I? Doesn't that make me the Harry Potter?
Who are you?
I'm the Harry Potter of Pottermore. Pottermore.
Oh,
I'm Harry Pottermore. There you go.
That's completely unfair.
Yeah, that's
all right.
That's just.
So is that what we like the most about Star Trek Discovery's premiere for season 2? Is Harry Potter?
I think that was that. I think I think the scene that I enjoyed the most was Pike's speech and Pike's introduction. That was the scene that I enjoyed the most of the entire episode. I didn't like the NASCAR space race.
No, that was lame.
I would have just jacked that out. I would have ripped that out. I hated Linus the sneezing Saurian.
I wish I had VR, a VR version of that scene.
I think those kind of scenes would be amazing for a Star Trek game, right? Do like a. But that's too much pod racing for Star Trek for me.
Well, the problem that took me out of it is they were going at a ludicrous speed.
But then they had to follow that friggin' asteroid, which was
I get that.
I
get that. But my point is that human beings being like, you have one person that was part of the test program and 3 people that have never used this device before ever.
Yeah.
And they are piloting it at ludicrous speeds. And it just seemed so unrealistic. Even the guy being an asshole about like, I know how to adjust the trajectory. It's like, no, you wouldn't. And I know how to do it. Don't talk to me. Nah, yeah, shaka bro,
right.
And then he gets blown up.
Okay, they would have had Data do this.
Right, they would have had Data do it. Yeah, right.
Discovery's already implying that it's breaking the no enhancement barrier or law that was in the Federation that one assumes that
everyone's got a fucking thing now. They've got
everyone's got an enhancement of some kind. So I think that it's plausible in Discovery for Burnham to be so spectacular and also be enhanced in ways they're not visible, like Detmer.
That's the kind of sentence that shouldn't exist, though. It's possible. It's plausible in Discovery.
Yeah, let's not get there yet.
But we are in the Discovery era. I mean,
let's not get there yet.
Nevertheless, I would have removed that entire scene.
No, ultimately, it was unnecessary. Ultimately, there was no point.
They could have found a way to beam them onto the planet. Then some sort of distortion happened, and then they couldn't beam them out. And then they still could have killed that one guy that got sneezed on. They could have killed him in like a rock falling on him or some shit. Moving on.
The fourth time I watched that scene, though, I had my iPhone in a Google like cardboard thing, and I had my headphones on and was like loud enough to not break my ears, and I was like maybe a little drunk, and I just was like, holy crap, this is an amazing scene. So I highly recommend you 3D print yourselves a Google
that's exactly what I'll do.
Phone holder.
When you've had enough of watching Star Trek Discovery, you start experiencing it, right?
Yeah. Yes, true. I agree. I do. This is probably point when you do Red Alert on Drunk Space Nine, which I'll tell you more about later.
Then a whole lot of things happen where they save the people, they beam the people, they do all this, and that's, I guess, not too bad. I guess it is pretty standard Starfleet mission, beaming people. It just annoys me because Mary Sue Burnham is like the most amazing person ever.
I don't want to get to the Mary Sue thing.
You said Mary Sue on Starfleet.
Hold on.
It's important that we talk.
We need to talk about it, but that's going to take up a lot of time.
And then my second favorite moment is Pike and Burnham talking about, you know, being on the ship, and it's just like they're still trying to make the scene dynamic because they're always turning the cameras and what have you, but it's just people talking.
Yeah, I know.
Burnham, Pike, right?
But
they you know, okay. They have some sort of heart-to-heart discussion. I like that. I enjoyed that.
No, that was really great. That was really great. But I felt like it was really weird for me, and this is why I kind of brought this up in my video, but it was really weird to me when they had that huge speech with Pike, and it was really great. And it's like, this guy knows what's up. He's a badass. You know, he's a seasoned captain. He's going to lead this crew great. They warp into this location. He's like given a big rousing thing about, listen, if there's people down there, we're not going to leave them, because Saru was giving him the bad news. And he goes, listen, I already know about all the bad news. And then Burnham hits him with the bad news. And he's like, I don't care. I know what it is. I want options. You know, don't give me this. And then she like kind of like undercuts like his capability when she's like, what I was going to say was we could do this and this to him, and almost kind of like chastises him for getting like heated. I don't know. It just really bugged me.
She felt like the popular kid mouthing off to like the teacher, the school teacher.
That's what it felt like.
It's like the replacement teacher, right?
Right. The substitute. Yeah.
Yeah. It was a bit weird, but then that's the major problem with Burnham is like, you can make her as amazing as you want in her abilities. She will always be insanely annoying and arrogant. And
what's the most annoying thing
of delivering?
What's the most annoying thing about Burnham the character? Let's talk about that for a second. What's like the top of your list in terms of things that annoy you about Michael Burnham?
Well, she needs no one. She can clearly be her own captain and her own crew.
Mm-hmm.
And like, no one else is useful. She's done everything and accomplished. Every time there's a new piece of technology that's presented, I tested it. Like, every time there's a new something, she's already done it. What have you?
I just feel like Spock did that already. Like and Data does that, and like, you know, Geordi does, like, it's not. Why is it not annoying true, when Burnham does it?
Okay, like, TNG. Everyone has their own field of expertise. Yes, there are some characters that are stronger or better than others because, like, Data is, Spock is, right? But Odo is essentially stronger than everyone else, but they all have their field of expertise and they're all awkward in certain ways. Burnham, apart from the fact she's impolite, she has no real, like, disadvantage. She's just better at everything for no reason. But she doesn't even have a designated post.
Ever that she's impolite. Like, she needs to
come on. You know what I mean. She doesn't even have a designated post. Like, what is she? She's supposed to be a science officer, but then she's like the best engineer. She's also like an amazing pilot. She can also clearly lead everyone.
She's a problem because she in a sense she's responsible for putting the Federation in peril and then also saving it, right? So
she's a metaphor for the Spore Drive, to be honest, because the Spore Drive is just completely too badass for what it is in the context of Star Trek, and she's just too badass for the context of the series. Like, I don't know. It's. I know I don't use the word Mary Sue often, but she really is one. She's just too much.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that it really kind of.
I just think that Captain Kirk is a Mary Sue then, by that standard.
But he would be a Gary Stu.
Okay,
but so the thing is I would say
you cannot compare something that comes out in 2017, 2018, something that comes out in 1966, right? Where there are clearly only 3 characters on the show. And you have a dynamic between those 3 characters, and Captain Kirk is our hero, he's our protagonist. Captain.
It's the same, but they're telling the same story. That's what Star Trek's always doing.
TV.
It's the same template. It's like
that's the problem with the Orville. The Orville is not good TV nowadays. It's mediocre TV for the 90s. All right, TV has gotten better since then. You should learn from your mistakes. Star Trek should do the same. Star Trek should be on the forefront of making things better, but instead they copy the Orville and do Linus sneezing jokes. But like, the same problems that you have with TOS should not come back in Discovery. at all.
I think the thing is that like I don't think that Discovery has like had enough time with the audience to be ranked perfectly, you know, to finally say like, oh, it has to end at some point, right? Like for us to be like, oh, this is where it falls ultimately in the Star Trek
I believe
ranks,
that
right?
with all the shows that
Like
exist pre-Discovery and all the shows that will exist post-Discovery, Discovery will forever remain one of the lowest ranked shows ever. And everyone that enjoys Discovery a lot now will eventually come down from their hype cloud and think, wait a minute, this was actually pretty shit.
And that's going to happen when the Picard show airs, so it's coming soon.
I mean that may be true, but I do think that it depends
it's different
on
for everyone, right? Because someone might love
right.
Voyager. Sorry,
No, you're okay. I understand. You're fine.
Someone may love Voyager, and another person might love TOS, and like you can't convince that person. I think that like we all have a Star Trek ranking DNA, right? So like-minded folks kind of gather around each other, and that's just how like life works, right? So it'll be interesting to see, but I think that like, you know, whatever the average is of that is like intrigued at the very least by Discovery, and I think that's okay because this was an awesome reboot in a sense, in my opinion, and I think it's gonna kind of grow the show into something. Oh, what are you whispering? What do you
It's
say?
not a reboot. You can't
I
use the
don't
word
know.
reboot when it's not a reboot.
I know I can't use that
It
word.
is a
yet,
reboot.
but-
They rebooted this whole show.
They
Thank
didn't
you.
reboot it. It's not.
did.
It's a continuation of the current story. It's not a reboot.
No.
Sean has banned certain ideas
No.
and words from the show.
No, it's like
Well, it's not.
you can call it fine. We won't call it a reboot. They just spun off from their own show. They took the same
visual
characters.
representation.
They took their own characters.
It's an art
and,
film.
And
it's an art film, guys. We can just call it an art film. It's the best.
It's a reboot.
It's an art show. It's taking a great deal of artistic license with what.
Okay, you know what? They should finish this the same way they finish Enterprise. This should all be like a holographic simulation, but interpreted by someone. Like someone did their own take on history. This is all like fictional history, right?
Yeah,
it's like, imagine if Discovery would have been like. Imagine if Discovery.
But that would be
like
But that would be a short Treks. Like they wouldn't release it as part.
No
one would really know. It'll be a short Treks, and only people who watch short Treks will know the truth about Discovery.
That's true.
Yeah. It's in the Marvel one shots because the real Mandarin exists in the MCU, but no one knows because it was only confirmed in like a one shot that they did.
Yeah.
God.
So what news did you just convey? I missed that.
Okay, the Mandarin in Iron Man 3 is not the Mandarin. It's Ben Kingsley pretending to be an actor, pretending to be the Mandarin, right?
Right.
Okay. But in a Marvel one shot that they released post movie that no one watched and no one cares about, it's confirmed that the real Mandarin exists because he sends a dude to kill Ben Kingsley impersonating him. And he says, we're not happy about this. But then like no one knows because no one watches the Marvel one shots and they've stopped releasing them anyway.
Oh, wow.
But the real Mandarin exists somewhere.
Yeah, we watch everything. Guys, think about that for a second. We watch everything Star Trek. It says Star Trek on it.
Well, what I was just about to say was Marvel gave up on the one-shots, and somebody should have probably told CBS that because they apparently thought it was a good idea. So, if I had money, I'd be sipping jippers on a beach somewhere.
Oh, come on. That was fun.
That was the only good one. I love that one.
I love that one.
What is the alien race that Non is, the red shirt in the episode?
I think she's a Barzan, and it's not confirmed, is it?
She's a Barzan. Thank you. I was trying to remember, and
I have not seen any confirmation yet, though.
No one's confirmed that yet.
But it's likely. It's likely that she's a Barzan, right?
I would think so. But then maybe it's just like an alien race that's inspired by.
I wish she's
it could be something new.
Barzan. I would have loved it if she becomes the Barzan that we see in TNG. That would have been amazing, but I don't think that's gonna happen.
It is strange because in TNG the Barzans, like, I think they're not part of the Federation. They're not part of, like, no one's in Starfleet. They're not part of the Federation.
Well, what if while she was on her home planet, there was a separate alien race that accidentally dropped a piece of technology on it, and then she used some kind of knowledge that she had within herself to figure out how to send a transmission to Captain Philippa Giorgio, who came to her planet, landed in front of everyone in a shuttlecraft, picked her up, and then left only with her, and then she left her own family behind to die in a ritualistic sacrifice.
No. she's the Barzan that wrote the Discovery Holosuite program, and she placed herself in it.
I like that. That's actually pretty good.
Oh wow! I think they look.
That's why there's a Geordie visor and shit. That's why there's enhanced people, because they're writing this from the future, and they kind of forgot that no one was like that in the past.
What will it finally be? I think if you say it, it doesn't come true, because CBS watches all of our shows with a massive computer.
I think
Ted Sullivan and Alex Kurtzman sit down and watch hours of
that's right.
They watch all of the 3-hour Trickyard discussions, right?
That's right.
Alex Kurtzman? You know a lot about Alex Kurtzman. Is he married?
I don't know. He doesn't have a Twitter account. Lucky him, because I would bombard that guy.
That's why he doesn't have one. That's why he doesn't have one.
He doesn't trick on the tube. He's like,
my goodness. Yeah. Honey, there's this creepy guy that won't stop messaging me. His name is kind of catchy, though. Trek on the Tube. Should I go look at his stuff?
He sends one angry tweet at me about canon, and then he sends a nice tweet because he wants to be hired. I don't understand. He's constantly flipping between mad and wanting to bring me coffee.
Honey, do you think CBS has enough money to buy his brand so we can relaunch After Trek?
After Trek. Oh god. After Trek on the Tube.
With Trek on the Tube. I'm so angry right now.
Are we not getting After Trek anymore? Is that done?
After Trek was cancelled, and it's going to be replaced by Facebook live streams, because
what does that mean?
That's new media.
What's Facebook live stream? What does that mean?
I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't have Facebook, so I don't know.
Listen, they should just hire me. I'll do the damn After Trek, and I'll just rip it apart for 15 minutes, and then we can just close it out. So, it's fine.
Okay, well, that's a perfect way to bank on the people that don't actually watch Discovery. You'd have everyone that doesn't watch Discovery, but they watch the Orville because it's playing at the same time. They would watch After Trek with Nick bashing on Discovery.
That's
so you can bank on the lovers and on the haters at the same time. It's amazing. Good idea.
Do you think CBS do you think that it's a calculated risk? Like, do you think that they know that there's more viewers of Star Trek?
I'm sorry, a what?
A calculated risk? Putting it up head to head with the Orville.
They put it out on the 17th/01 because it's the 17/01. It's fun.
It's now airing. Isn't it now airing every Thursday?
I wouldn't think so. Aren't they just going to shift it back to Sunday?
No, I don't believe so, but I don't know.
They put it on Thursdays? They put it on Thursdays.
At the same time as the Orville.
Isn't that
can we just talk about how retarded it is? We're talking about a release schedule for a show that's only released online. These people are so stupid. Just release the whole season. Why even have a mid-season break? It's so dumb.
I wish for this too. I can't argue with you on that.
2019. Okay. I want to binge the show. Okay. They don't want you to anyway. Every fucking episode is finished. Okay, and they're only doing it because they force people to pay for CBS All Access. That's the only reason they do that.
It's made.
Would you pay $50 a year to have a binge privilege?
Not for CBS All Access.
No, but for something like, let's say, the Expanse.
I would pay $50 a year to have a video on demand platform that has all of Star Trek, and every time they have a show, like a season of a show that's finished, they just dump it on there, and I'll just watch it, and I'd pay that.
But this would be like on top of your $9.99 subscription. You would have to pay an additional $50 a year to get your
what $9.99 subscription?
Binge mode. You would turn on binge mode.
No, it's just no. I would just I would pay for
and just give me the friggin' shows.
That's like, wouldn't you do that, right? So CBS, you heard it here first.
Just give us the shows.
Turn on binge mode. Just do it. Turn on binge mode.
As soon as you have a show that's done, just release it. Boom.
Right.
Give it to us.
Like every other video on demand company on the planet.
Yes.
And then you can also do your after tricks. You don't your short tricks. You don't even have to do them in just as soon as you have it.
I hope Netflix can buy Star Trek from both.
I hope Netflix
CBS
stops buying
and Paramount.
anything.
and like
No,
just
it won't
take
happen.
over Star Trek. It would be amazing.
'Cause the
or
thing
Amazon.
is
I'm down
a
for
lot of
Amazon
people-
to own Star Trek too.
Netflix will make Christmas specials with Star Trek if they own
I'm
it.
so about that. That's like my dream come true.
I got to be honest with
Absolutely
you.
not.
I got to be honest with you. I would be totally about like a really stupid.
You
Christmas
would
special.
not.
Yeah,
I would
you
be
would not.
totally.
They would just give
If
you
they didn't take it
generations.
seriously, if they didn't take it
generations of your
seriously,
entire
yeah,
family.
agreed. No, I agree.
listen. Somebody gifted the planet of Earth the Star Wars holiday special, and that is one of the greatest things ever made.
Cheers to
I've never
that.
seen that.
And it's one of the best things ever made because it is literally the worst. And I would love to see the Star Trek version of that. I would totally be on board for that. But that's neither here nor there because it's never going to happen.
This is known as the Jeff Bezos section of Starfleet Boy, so I'll make sure to tag you in this part.
Yeah,
I learned how to do that now. I can tag you in your part. Haha.
I'd rather you not tag me in my part. Yeah, I don't like the way that. It's not that kind of stream, bro. It's not that kind of stream. Okay, that's a different kind
audience.
of stream.
This is a disclaimer. I'm sorry if you didn't know. I'll put it in the description. There are so many spoilers, not just for Star Trek Discovery,
but literally every possible thing.
But as Sean,
we do. This is the spoiler show. That's what we should call it.
This is absolutely spoiler show.
It's
Solo dies.
Well known.
Okay, so let's
officially spoiled.
So, what do you guys think happened between Michael and Spock? I've already said mine, which is that they're hanging and banging, but that's my opinion.
It would be so weird if that's what
awkward.
it is. It's so awkward.
Yeah, it is.
You don't go all punk far on Michael Burnham like that. She can't do that.
It would be really weird. It would be very strange.
Okay, so essentially, I want to break this down. I want to break this down a bit.
I'm listening to you. I'm just doing the fanfare. Sorry, go ahead. Continue. Wow.
The idea is there's a mystery that happened, right? So something happened between Michael and Spock that has essentially estranged them, and they haven't spoken in years. And essentially, Michael was never expecting to talk to Spock again. But this same event has made Spock distant with his father, or was he already distant with Spock?
He was already distant with him. He said that he hadn't talked to him in years.
Okay, so is it not just Spock is a dick?
Well, people are saying online that, which would be a great theory, but for one reason, people are saying that the reason why Spock doesn't talk to his father and his sister is because of that whole situation. I think it was Lave, where Sarek had to decide which one of them was going to go to the Vulcan Science Academy and which one wasn't.
Is that? Yeah.
So people are saying that was the cause, and I would agree with that, except when they were having the conversation in this episode, Sarek did not seem aware of what the problem was. And clearly he would know that would be the reason. So there's obviously something else that has occurred.
No, absolutely.
Several years earlier.
That's a different issue. Sarek blames himself.
Very good connecting the dots there. It's like
he blames himself because
that's pretty interesting.
He decided to send Spock to the Vulcan Science Academy and Burnham to Starfleet Academy.
But kind of makes their choices for them.
He makes the choices for them. Yeah. But Spock doesn't want to go to the Vulcan Science Institute. Sorry, he wants to go to this academy.
Right.
And then so it creates that hurts Burnham because she wasn't allowed to go to the Vulcan Institute. She wanted to go there.
Right.
There's a lot of Vulcan Instituting going on because
did they also when writing this episode, did they not forget that Spock is half human though? Because I felt like they kept on talking about him as if he was completely Vulcan. Like, you need to teach him empathy.
I didn't get that impression at all. Oh no, you're right. Wait a second.
They keep on talking about how he doesn't know empathy. You like it seems as if he was too Vulcan.
Back, I'm listening to you. I can still hear you.
Okay, I could have sworn in somewhere in Trek. That's a new hashtag. Somewhere in Trek, it's established that Spock has there is something wrong with Spock in a sense. He's always kind of had to struggle with something that no other Vulcan typically has to deal with, and what he chooses to do over and over is to repress the human side of his being, right? And so it leads to a lot of problems with Spock. I think that's even Leonard Nimoy kind of conveyed, if I'm not mistaken, that kind of vibe. So it's interesting to me for what's happening here because I kind of imagined Kid Spock as like this insanely brilliant, smart kid who has lots of emotional problems because he doesn't know what to do with emotions, which he has super deeply, or at least he feels them like a human does, perhaps.
Okay, Spock. So they're talking about empathy, and Burnham says to Sarek, like, "Don't worry, he's got plenty of empathy." Right, and then he says, you said something that I don't know, la di da."
I
So
think
is
he's
it like,
abusive for sure at some point, because I think he's and Spock struggles with some of these things. In Star Trek 6, he actually like mind probes without permission on on Lieutenant Valeris, and I know it's for a very important reason, like the fucking Kittimer
oh
crisis.
shit?
But like, so
he assaulted Burnham in some way with like some
he
sort of
could
mind
have
meld or
done
some
something
shit.
like that. I don't doubt it, and that's why it was so painful. It would be retroactively even more painful for Spock later on.
That doesn't work. That doesn't. I agree that would be a great idea.
They could go real meta.
I agree that would be a great idea, but she said very clearly in the episode that it was her fault.
Okay,
it was her fault.
Right. Yeah, you're
So
right.
it wouldn't be her fault
if
if he mind melded her.
Those
forcefully.
were so many wasted. It
was great theories, guys, but they've ruined it. Sorry.
In the animated series, Spock gets lost in the desert, and the adult him needs to go and save himself.
What do you think Burnham did to Spock?
And so Burnham tried to save Kid Spock, but adult Spock arrived and saved Kid Spock, and so Kid Burnham was left to die. But then she found out. No, I don't know. I
think what's gonna happen. I think this is very obvious.
So I just see like Kid Burnham at the end of the show, like just there, like blood coming out of her mouth. It's terrible.
You think that they sexualized each other? And then...
I don't. Well, that's my current theory. Here's what here's my other theory. I think either they're hanging and banging, doing the Tombo Mambo, or I think that they got into a huge argument because Cybok wanted to go to a liberal arts.
Will not be.
Cybok wanted to go to a liberal arts institute on Vulcan, and Burnham wanted to support him, and Spock didn't, and they got into a huge fallout.
Who could play Cybok at this around this time period in your minds? Like
William Shatner.
Yes, please. I vote for that always, of course.
Yeah. Okay, Cybok would be how old at this point?
I think 102. I'm not sure how Vulcan years work. Yeah, you guys are saying kid Spock, but Spock in that scene in Star Trek Discovery was 35. So, just saying.
That's true.
Yeah,
but who would play Kid Cybok? No, we don't care about Kid Cybok.
So it would be.
He's a Vulcan prince. You know this, right?
It would be teenage Cybok anyway.
It would be like he's upstairs in his room listening to like death metal music.
No, he's off chilling with some Vulcan puss or something.
Do you think it could have been as simple as Cybok discovered like the Rolling Stones? And then that changed his whole perspective.
He's like out there like getting lit. And he's like, yeah, bro, Shakari. What's up? And then he like stumbles home and Sarek's like, get a job. You can't live here anymore. You smell like
a prince. I'm
like
a prince. Don't you talk to me that way. Yeah, my mother is a fucking princess.
Yeah.
Oh, you think Spock and Cybok fought over Burnham, right?
Oh
I think they were. Maybe she was hanging and banging them both. Maybe that's what was going on.
This is not what's happening. This is not what's happening at all.
Okay, so I do have a legitimate question though about the sequence. I have a legitimate question because I thought about this. So there's several things that don't make sense in my mind, and maybe you guys can clear it up. In the first season, we see a flashback early on of Sarek finding a young Michael Burnham, like a very young Michael Burnham, in what appears to be like the weird Vulcan learning centers, and he finds her.
Right.
And it's implied that that's where her parents died, but her parents are both humans, so that was really weird that she's in the Vulcan learning center. But okay, that happened. Sarek then finds her, and then when we see the flashback in this episode, she is clearly several years older with a completely different hairstyle than what she was when he found her. So how the fuck long was it before he brought her home?
Okay, I don't think it's several years. I think it's just several months. The way I see it,
she is substantially older, though. She is substantially older.
Really? But Burnham
yes,
tells
look at the
pictures. Burnham tells the story of her parents' death, and I feel like there's some time in between, because remember she tells Ash Tyler like that she was hiding in a cupboard when the Klingons like killed her parent. Do you guys remember any of that?
Okay, so she was
No
was
one
then,
knows. No
so
one
if
knows
that
what
happened,
happens.
so then she was present for another Klingon attack at a Vulcan
Right.
learning
So
center.
she's just super messed
She's
up.
just all the
She's
time fucked
like
up.
super messed up.
But
and
again,
Sarek
like,
was there the second time, not the
Sarek,
first time.
He's like, he gives her the hand, you know, he's my mind to your mind. And it's like, Sarek, actually, you have to get consent for that, but it's unrelated. And so he does
you don't
that.
have to get consent.
Oh,
He
he's
doesn't need consent
healing
from the
meld.
Rock.
That's what the whole season 4 of Enterprise was about, is how T'Pol got mind raped. All right, listen.
Oh, come on. Spock
true,
goes
there's a
around
lot
and
of that in there.
he connects with everyone. Rocks, computers. He doesn't give a shit.
Yeah. Yeah, that was my Leonard, by the way. But seriously though, look at the pictures
of
the way she
It's so
appeared
true.
in that flashback, and look at the way that she appeared in this flashback, and she's completely older, with not to mention the fact that it's a wildly different haircut. But I don't understand. So was that before he brought her home?
Actor that got older?
But they could have hired a younger actress or tried to keep her hair the same. But the flashback sequences don't make any sense, because was she already in the House of Sarek and learning on Vulcan when then she also got attacked? Was there an attack on Vulcan that we don't know about?
Okay, I think so. Okay, what must have happened is oh no, because then it was before. Okay, so you're saying she was already on Vulcan with the parents, right? With the real parents.
No, they were on a colony. They were in a different colony. Her parents got attacked and killed. Then Sarek supposedly found her. Then she was on Vulcan. Supposedly at some point she was dropped off at Sarek's house, but then she was also in a sequence where the learning center she was at, that was the Vulcan learning centers with the weird dip downs, that was attacked, and Sarek had to mind meld with her. So was that before or after he brought her back to the house? Because if it was after, she looks younger there. So I don't know what's in the water at the house of Sarek.
It could be my Trek explanation. It could be that that Sarek first came into contact with Burnham after her parents were killed, and then he brought her to orphan care on Vulcan. Like maybe there's such a thing, and would pay for her education, but he wasn't participating. Oh no, because in this episode he's like, the most unspeakable horror has happened.
A child has come to us. Why would he suddenly?
Like, so he suddenly say that. You're right.
Right. It doesn't make any sense. Like it's been 2 fucking.
Okay, wait a minute. Here we are. Here we go. Memory Alpha.
Okay.
Memory Alpha to the rescue.
Go ahead. Tell me what I'm working with here.
I'm not going to read the entire paragraph because it's too long. But she was born on Earth in 2226.
Okay.
In the early 2230s, her and her parents were stationed on Doctari Alpha.
Okay.
They originally planned a vacation to Mars, but she begged to stay on the colony a few more days to witness a nearby supernova. The Klingons attacked. Burnham's father attempted to barricade the door. Her mother hid with her in the cabinet. She did not witness the death of her parents, but she learned everything that happened later on. So the Klingons, they ate the family dinner and sat at the table, very Klingon-like. She was then raised. She was then raised on Vulcan by Sarek and Amanda Grayson, and she was the first ever human to attend the Vulcan Learning Center. While she was living on Vulcan, there was an attack by Vulcan logic extremists that we saw in that one episode.
Okay. Yeah,
they were the ones. They were the ones that attacked the
learning center. Okay.
That's where he does the mind meld. He gives her part of his katra, saves her life, and
I guess it doesn't explain the visual incongruities though, because you would expect Burnham to age correctly throughout that whole ladder,
which is why
and this implies that it's the first time we're meeting.
Yeah, so it implies that the first time we see Burnham is in this episode where she has the hair like all human-like.
Yeah,
and then it implies that the scene that we saw with the Vulcan extremists attacking the Vulcan Learning Center is later on when she's gone full Vulcan.
Right.
Audience, are we correct?
She's younger. She looks younger in that scene than she does in the one that we just saw.
But that's simply put because they decided to film one scene after the other. But they have the actress growing up.
Spock was having one of these like hippy dippy mental visions that he's been having, which he calls nightmares or whatever, and he sees Burnham's death and he tells her about it, and she freaks out and like assaults him in some way. It's actually Burnham who's the abuser. She's like, I'm not gonna die. I'm not gonna do it. Those Klingons killed my parents. You think I'm gonna die? I want revenge. Or some crazy ass shit like like that.
You think he could see the future?
He can see the future. Well, because he's already traveled so much throughout time. He's got like some kind of crazy thing.
Spock does something like he sees a vision of Burnham dying or some shit, so he wants to protect her,
and he also doesn't want to get attached to her, so he never accepts her.
He doesn't want to get he never gets attached because he's afraid he'll hurt
he
if she dies.
He keeps trying to fix his first adventures as the time traveler is that he keeps trying to fix Burnham's parents getting killed. So that's why in season 2 she's a different age because Spock has already fixed it and it went wrong again. So there's actually like several times like death, which is the red angel of death, is like I want my soul, I want my Burnham. And
I like
Spock
that.
Spock is messing with death.
Spock has a vision of Burnham dying. So that's why he never get attached to her, because he doesn't want to feel pain when she dies. And what he does is he sabotages one of the tests or some shit.
Sabotage.
So that he sabotages one of the tests or some shit, so that she's not accepted like to the Vulcan.
Not accepted.
Because he wants to keep her on Vulcan to protect her, and she gets mad at him. So she's all like, that's the empathy that he feels because he wants to help her and save her, but he does something so wrong that then they get estranged, they get all mad, and then she goes off to do Starfleet and he does too. And okay, that works.
I mean, unless I do think that.
Come on, that works.
And God, I really hope that they don't go this way. But what I think they're gonna do is that the Red Woman
is the Iconians.
I think the Red Woman's just gonna be Burnham.
Oh.
Burnham from the future.
Something happens, then she becomes that. That's why the Red Woman has been speaking with Spock, because she obviously knows him, and that's also why she appeared in a vision to herself, and why she wasn't there to show herself to any other person.
So, is the woman in Africa that threw the ashes in the sky to make the galaxy? Is that Burnham as well?
Yes. Correct.
Correct.
That is also correct.
Yes. That is 100%.
Okay, so at this point, Captain Picard is Burnham as well.
I hope they don't do this, but you just spoke to me.
I'm not saying that Captain Picard isn't Burnham, but I'm saying that. Yeah.
This is my favorite interpretation of Star Trek Discovery.
Is it Burnham? But I'm not saying that he is Burnham,
Okay, so we are Burnham.
We are Burnham.
What I'm thinking is not every life form in the galaxy is Burnham, but Burnham is every life form in the galaxy, if you know what I'm saying.
Or maybe in a very positive way, like if we could spin it into a beautiful thing, Burnham is the new Mary Sue. She's like, F Mary Sue, I'm Burnham. Look at what I can do.
She's even more.
She's even more.
Okay, you know how we have Mother Nature on this planet? Well, in space you have Mother Space, right?
And Mother Burnham. Yeah, it's Mother Burnham. Yeah, Mother Michael.
Mother Space, and I would love her.
Mother Michael.
Mother Michael. Yeah. I don't know why I turned into an Italian person.
Cybok is actually on a quest to find Michael.
That's true. That's his whole thing. He's trying to find Michael in the Shakari.
Shakari. If you switch around a few letters, add a few letters, and take away a few, it makes Michael.
God is what Burnham eventually becomes. And it's so
that
sad.
Old man.
The biggest tragedy of life.
Yeah, that old Aslan looking motherfucker. Yeah, no, for sure. I think that's. I think we're onto it. I think we pretty much cracked the code.
Bring your starship a little closer.
I think what happened was Burnham at some point in the past.
This is a terrible review.
It's
Burnham at some point in the future.
That's what we're gonna be known for.
Burnham at some point in the future is on the Discovery. Discovery gets destroyed and it falls into like a black hole or something. She makes a deal with Space Davy Jones and
oh my god, fear death
to raise the Discovery 10 years prior. She gets to still serve on the Discovery for 10 additional years, but at the end of it, she has to serve on Davy Jones's the USS Flying Dutchman for 100 years.
It works because the flashbacks in Discovery are just as bad as the flashbacks in Pirates 5, right?
Do you guys from your own brains? I did not know this, but from your own brains, do you know where else Regulation 19 appeared in Star Trek?
19 Section C?
No, this section's new, but it was Regulation 19. Oh, Starfleet boy failed again. There is no other.
I know that.
You know what Starfleet boy thought was Section 19 in his research?
What was that?
Was Regulation 191, Article 14, which was on Voyager, and it was like I was like,
that's not even close.
Exciting.
It doesn't even have the word section in it.
Like it's like,
there's a few numbers.
There's a few numbers.
There's a 1 and a 9.
Can we talk about, for my benefit, can we talk about Captain Pike and Anson Mount for a moment?
He's amazing.
Yes, 100%. Don't you think? No,
Captain Pike is amazing. Anson Mount is amazing. He's a beacon of light in this show.
I think that's what he was supposed to do. He was supposed to come in to this like dark environment and just be like.
But then Burnham's all like, "Shut the fuck up, boy. I'm a teacher."
She did give him that. She did give him that
treatment.
But
at the end, who's following who?
But what pisses me off,
the whole
thing. They put him in the blue uniform. Leave him in yellow. He looks awesome.
The whole thing is the whole reason that he's staying on Discovery is stupid, though. I just have to say.
What is the reason? Because
his ship is damaged and has to undergo severe repairs. His ship. So he's leaving behind his entire crew of a couple of hundred people.
203.
To then hang out.
202 now.
Yeah, that's right. He's lost a couple. To hang out on the Discovery to look at red bursts because he's suddenly the only person available to do that. Give me a break.
No, okay. What happened was 80% of Starfleet died. Nick, come on.
But they were going to go pick up their captain on Vulcan. He's still waiting on Vulcan.
He was the Vulcan. He was
the
Vulcan captain. He wasn't. He was the Vulcan captain. He wasn't a human captain. Now
I think Enterprise. Okay, that racist shit doesn't work anymore. Okay.
I think that when Spock requested leave, Captain Pike probably investigated a little bit, as a friend might do, more than in a suspicious way, and started to read up on Burnham. And so I think after the whole crazy incident that occurred, he was like, all right, meaning crazy, whatever the sabotage was that knocked out the Enterprise except for its propulsion system, right? He was like, oh shit, is the Discovery nearby? I need to talk to that lady right now, but I don't want it to be like,
because they're going to be using the spore drive.
What's that? He's like discovered the spore drive. So he's like, let's go to that ship, and he commandeers it, which in the threat level that they're proclaiming, Starfleet's given him the authority to commandeer any vessel he wants. So if the Enterprise is down, the natural course is to say, crew, fix this shit. I already have a competent crew in this other ship. We're going to go on low risk missions to investigate the red burst that appeared suddenly, blah, blah, blah. So that's how he's looking at it. Plus he was hoping, I think in my mind, I think he was hoping that Burnham would want to look at Spock's personal logs, because only she would have access under these conditions. Like, I don't think personal logs can even be given to captains. It would only be to family members, and she's registered as a sister. So that was a play.
Bullshit. Security officers look at personal logs all the time.
That's
Is that true?
Worf did it. Yeah,
I didn't know. You're right.
They did it in the Drumhead too. But my
point is, Odo doesn't need any authority by anyone. He just looks at everything.
He just does it.
And if he can't see it, he asks Quark to hack it. He doesn't give a shit.
True. He just turns into liquid and enters into it.
But Pike,
for a while,
Pike is doing
the problem. Okay, but the problem really is, guys, the problem is that the premise at the end, and really just the premise at the beginning, is that why is it that Captain Pike specifically has to be the one to investigate these red bursts?
Okay, that makes sense to me. That makes sense to me. Okay, it is fan service, but it does make sense to me, because he was on a 5-year mission while all of the shenanigans were happening. And he came back. So you assume the war ends, everyone gets a medal, fantastic, you're amazing people. Some time passes, right? Yeah. Some time passes.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, the Enterprise comes back, and then all of a sudden he goes to investigate this shit. That's when he comes to the USS Discovery and says, now I need to commandeer this ship because this is the ship we need. But he's the most experienced captain because he's done the 5-year mission and he's back. I'm supposing there are other people out there on other Constitution class vessels that are still doing their missions, but they're still out there. Right? Pike is back. He's the most experienced captain. And they're giving
range, which happens.
They're giving him the scientific ship this is the one ship that is closest to the Enterprise.
One
right?
could argue that the Enterprise
and they're off to see the
herself
wizard.
down just because she knew it would put Pike in this position.
You know, but my problem is that Pike is this. It's just incongruent. Like, okay, I could see maybe at the beginning
He's also
it was
one
an
of the most
emergency.
decorated. Like Georgia was decorated, but she's dead.
Right.
Pike's decorated. Matt Dick is probably out somewhere doing his shenanigans. Archer is long dead.
With Kirk in it.
And who was the fifth one? Who was the fifth one?
I think it was Robert April. Was the
Robert April? Robert April's lost.
Yeah,
right. He's in time shenanigans.
He's Gene Roddenberry. He's the great bird of the galaxy.
So out of the 5 most decorated captains in the fleet, only Pike is alive or currently active. Right?
I get that. Okay, so I'll let that slide though. I'll let that slide for the beginning. But he's portrayed as this great captain. And I understand it was an emergency situation and they needed to investigate the last red burst that was remaining because the other ones disappeared. They did that. He should go back to his ship. It's his ship. It's his crew. He needs to make sure that the refits are good and that the ship is repaired. And Discovery, just from a military standpoint, the Discovery needs to start working with their captain that has been
Pike's
actually
personally
assigned.
invested, isn't he? Because he has to find Spock. Now they have to find Spock.
It is, and that's the thing is like it doesn't make sense other than the fact that it's because that's what the plot needs because it needs to have Pike.
The only person higher than him currently is Admiral Cornwell, and she's terrible. So if he says to her, "I want to be on Discovery," she's like, "Okay, whatever. I'm scared of Klingons anyway."
Okay, whatever.
Whatever.
I'm scared of Klingons anyway, so
I think we need a New Zealand actor to play an admiral, but it has to be a total jerk, and I nominate you, Sean, to be the jerk.
I nominate Cliff Curtis. Cliff Curtis is an amazing actor, and he has a very good New Zealand accent. I don't. I have a trash accent.
We need a good Kiwi accent up there.
Cliff Curtis, if you don't know him, he's Fire Lord Ozai in the last Airbender movie. He's also Travis from Fear the Walking Dead, and that one dude from The Meg.
Yeah,
I have a question for
the one dude who didn't die.
The first time you were watching the episode, were you for a moment believing that Spock would be on the transporter pad, or did you remember from the trailer and like kind of figured out that it wasn't?
I didn't give a shit. I didn't think about it for 1 second. Not one.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm at this point now where I do not dislike Discovery, nor do I like it. I just don't care. I'm hyped for the rest that's coming out, but this I didn't. I was genuinely happy when I saw the Pike speech. I was like, oh, this is awesome. Then they got into the pod racing, and I was like, well, True Detective was really good today.
Oh my god!
Because I watched True Detective, and Mahershala Ali is an amazing actor. And
do you think he would come on Star Trek Discovery? It might improve the show even more.
No, not at all.
I think he should stay well away.
What? Oh my goodness!
He's too good for that shit. So
he is. I mean, he's doing True Detective.
And I mean, if I'm being honest, if I'm being honest, like
which you should always
bringing in Anson, like having Jason Isaacs, Michelle Yeoh, and Anson Mount already is outclassing the rest of the actors and actresses on Discovery. They really can't bring in any more guest stars.
Chris Obi was awesome as well.
Yeah,
he was. That's true. I mean, there was a few other characters. I mean, even the Rainn Wilson, like again, these actors they're a cut above. So when they're on screen and they're interacting with the other actors that aren't so hot, like it's super obvious. And they need to stay away from that shit.
I'm not too distraught about the acting on Discovery. I think the acting is not too bad on Discovery. I have huge problems with like some of the acting on the Orville, for example. Discovery's not too bad for me. I think that Mary Wiseman
in this episode too.
I think
she's fantastic.
Mary Wiseman is. I think that the Tilly that we saw in the first few episodes of Discovery it worked, but now I think they're pushing it too far. They're going like they're moving into parody Tilly now. It's too Tilly, right? I feel like they're pushing that too far, and at some point it's not going to work anymore. The comedy isn't going to work anymore.
Well, I think that scene with her and Stamets worked for me because it kind of made light of that with this, where at first
That's what didn't work for me. It was
really?
just a little too much.
I'm loving that. We're so
which one are you talking about? The one in the beginning of the episode or the one at the end with the box?
So,
the one in the end.
So one of the
about math people.
I personally have to give a hats off to Alex Kurtzman at this point, because I actually fell into the episode, like in terms of like suspension of disbelief and just overall like engagement and enjoyment of it. It really captivated me. And so not a bad thing, not a good thing, it's just what happened for
it's
me,
true,
right?
I would say that this was the very first episode of Discovery to where I was not like, when I knew I had to rewatch it to make my review, but I was not dreading the fact that I was going to have to go through it again. Like,
that's awesome.
It was the very first time that I was like, okay, like, and there were scenes that I actually stopped taking my notes and it was actually watching it as opposed to just using it. And I'm just saying it was the first episode that I didn't absolutely dread the idea.
It does feel a lot like season 1 for the moment, but I gotta say that this episode, and I think
you mean season 1, episode 1?
No, it felt like a remake of it. It felt like a remake of the pilot.
Right, it did feel like that, but I think that's
the thing is,
it's a reboot.
It's the reboot. It's totally true.
It's a reboot, Sean.
I refuse, sir.
It's because it's a reboot, Sean.
It's good. It's a great show too. It's a great.
Welcome to Star Trek Discovery Season 1, a whole new adventure. It's what it said in the trailer. It said that in the trailer, a whole new adventure, a whole new Trek, a brand new Trek. They said you've never seen this Trek before, except for the last time. Motherfucker.
PG-13 warning.
Oh, sorry, mother.
No, you're good.
Effer.
Mother fracker. We could use Battlestar Galactica terminology.
Don't get close to that microphone, Sean. I saw that.
Hit it.
Okay.
Mother
fracker.
Gretchen J. Berg and Aaron Harberts, those who are fired, wrote this episode. And so this is what they wanted to do.
But it's probably heavily doctored, just saying.
They wrote this episode, and apparently they went way over budget with the production of it all.
It's
so
clear
they could have gone under budget by taking away the race scene.
Yeah, if they got rid of the pod race scene, they could have probably came in under budget. But then would they have cool shots for the trailer?
But they would have had a better episode too. So I don't know. Good trailer, better episode.
Just try my method that I told you about. 100%.
Lenny Kravitz.
Try watching the scene again with headphones and that Google.
No, I refuse.
No, that's a big NO for that.
Just try it. Audience,
create a series. You need to make the series good for me to watch in any situation, because you don't know how I'm going to watch it. I don't comply to your rules.
You're goddamn right, Sean. I should be able to print off the script in Braille, and just
there happens to be,
and so I should love it. I should just. I'm not making fun of The Blind, by the way. I'm just using a visual.
The Book of Eli is an amazing movie.
The Book of Eli is an amazing movie, and that guy couldn't see shit.
So Spoilers. I'll tell you what, it's gonna be a little shocking Starfleet Boy revelation. This episode made me want to go out and buy the Blu-ray of season 1.
No.
I swear that's stupid.
No.
That's just ridiculous. That's like saying I love the Avengers. It makes me want to go watch. It makes me want to go buy the Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Wait, Sean, didn't you get the Blu-ray for Discovery?
Yeah,
no, I got the DVD, and I'm giving it away.
Oh yeah, the DVD. Yeah, okay.
I'm giving it away.
Let he who cast the first stone.
Yeah. If I had money like that, I'd be sipping gippers on a beach somewhere.
Hey, look, I want to give a great big shout out to Amazon, because I bought the DVD at quite an expensive price.
Yeah.
But apparently, when they sent it to me, they realized that you could buy it cheaper at some other place, and so they sent me like a discount. Like they returned money. They gave me a return. They reimbursed like fucking 50% of the DVD.
I like it.
So congratulations, Amazon, for realizing that Star Trek Discovery Season 1 is not worth that much, and for giving me my money back.
What are you talking about? Rotten Tomatoes says it's the highest rated TV show of all time. What are you talking about?
What?
Rotten Tomatoes is
Wait, are you serious?
That's
the thing.
It's the highest rated
Rotten Tomato
new TV show.
Rotten Tomatoes is
you
not
mean
a
like
correct website.
The most ratings, or like the highest rated, like beyond Game of Thrones?
It was
Rotten Tomatoes is stupid.
Rotten Tomatoes does have it high, but it was TV Guide that had it listed as in the top 20 of the new shows of 2018 that premiered
All of these top 20 lists are stupid.
It was like in the top 5.
The worst shows ever on there.
Yeah, remember that list? I remember that list because it was like a bunch of shows that no one's ever heard of. And then Star Trek Discovery was like in there, and it's like
I just have a personal list, and The Expanse is still on the top at the moment. Is all I'll say.
Fanboy. You know, if Gary was here, he would just say the Orville. So
he would.
Do you know how? This is how stupid Rotten Tomatoes is.
Yeah,
they have glass at 35%. I haven't seen it yet, but there's no way a movie is 35%. It can't be that bad, right? But it also has Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse at 97.
There's no way a movie could be that bad.
There's no way.
There is, but not
glass.
Movie.
Not glass, right?
This
and in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse may be a very good movie, but there's no way it's a 97. That's 3 points away from being the perfect movie. No.
Do you guys ever wonder if you're outliers?
Bumblebee is 92. 92%.
Is that critic score or a user score?
Okay, I don't know what all that means. I only know. I remember. I'm
gonna click on Bumblebee.
Okay, because it has 2. It has the user score and the critic score.
Okay, I've clicked on Bumblebee. It's loading. It has
this is the lookup ratings for other movies not having to do anything.
Audience score has it at 79 and critics has it at 92. But then what's the difference between an audience and a critic nowadays? If you have a blog, you're a critic, right?
I have a Star Trek question when you're done. When you're done, I have a Star Trek question.
This is dumb. This is stupid. The Grand Tour season 1 was it like 98? 98?
I ask you.
Grand Tour?
Yes. Yeah.
No.
Yes, according to Rotten Tomatoes, and
Sean
they never lie.
Sean and Nick, I have a question. This is a
go ahead.
crafting question.
Okay.
Perhaps I don't know if it falls in that category, but it's a question I'm curious to know what your answer is, which is, do you think this first half of the season is going to be focused on Spock, brother, and then the second half of the season will be focused on Sister Saru?
What?
No, I don't think they're going to break it up like
that. They
brought
it up in this episode. In the transporter room, he brings up his sister's whose name is Sriracha.
That's true. In the trailer.
Sriracha.
Oh.
It's Sriracha. No, he's right. That's 100%
Sriracha. His sister's named Sauce.
No,
yeah,
you're right.
Her sister's named after the Souse. She's the Souse spouse. She's the Souse spouse on Kelpian.
Oh, no.
Okay, that's the joke. Saru. Just Saru. It's like sauce. Just sauce.
You think when he goes to save her, you think she's going to be like, why did you leave me all those years ago?
Yes, it's going to be awful.
Hey, Dick, why did you leave?
Saru, I can see you leaving. And he's like covering his eyes in the shuttlecraft. You know?
You think they'll play Elton John's Daniel to that scene where it'll be like, Saru is leaving tonight in a shuttlecraft.
Maybe
red jet light.
They'll just reuse Lenny Kravitz. They already have the rights to that now, so they'll just reuse that.
That's true. Yeah, they will. That's going to be in the season at some point. I actually was surprised that they didn't play it.
Goodbye.
I'm surprised it wasn't during the pod scene.
Must be the clouds in my eyes.
Okay, let's do some actual reviewing. The CG was great, and the makeup was great.
Yes,
that's true.
And the sets are good.
Yes.
And the acting was good.
Yes.
There you go. That's some quality review right there. Again?
Wait, so what was bad? You just covered like everything. What was the bad thing?
The writing.
The writing was still tough. The writing was still tough. I am very curious to see. I didn't like the fact that Commander Reno disappeared after they beamed over to the Discovery. She was not seen for the rest of the episode, so that was really lame. I didn't like the fact that Stamets, who is the chief engineer of Discovery, just because he's sad because his fiance or husband or whatever it was died, his spouse died, and he just went to go mope in his room and left essentially an ensign in charge of engineering. I did not like some of the sequences, like with Saru not realizing that when they brought the shields down and during the transporter sequence that they were going to be succumbed to asteroids in them. Just turn on the phasers and start blasting those motherfuckers. Like, what's the big deal? I don't understand.
Actually, I did wonder why that could happen, and that like there was no mention, as far as I recall, and I've watched it like 5 times, of like the death toll or like what. Like, it would have been interesting to see a CG scene from inside the destruction zone.
You mean when that giant asteroid smashed into it because Saru's a fucking retard? Yeah, you're right.
That's why he's not ready to be a captain.
That's right. He's not ready to be a captain.
Why is there no door?
On the ship? He's like, he gets back to the Discovery. He's like, Mr. Saru, status report. I don't know why he has a British accent, but he's like, Mr. Saru, status report. When I was in Mojave, I learned you need a status report after every single mission.
Well, when I was in Mojave, I learned you're just gonna get into a cold stream. You gotta jump right in.
I love.
Oh my god!
He could just say whatever he wants. It was so good.
What space, right?
Sorry,
yeah. So. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like a big asteroid smashed into the front of it, probably killed several people, but because he just forgot.
They addressed it. There's one guy with like a broken leg or some shit, or he's wounded in sickbay with Burnham.
And maybe that's true, but that's really stupid. It was stupid that it happened to begin with. These are command level.
Okay, I also
Starfleet officers.
Let me get this straight.
I also dislike the magic technology.
You didn't think to raise the shield or take evasive action when you saw this asteroid heading at the Discovery. Well, so it's clear to me that you just cannot captain or be a temporary captain of the ship, but maybe you could be a co-captain. What do you say? Okay, Captain.
You think he would have seen the asteroid covering with his big eyes?
In all fairness.
Will you stay with us all season, Captain Pike? Can you stay with us for 2 seasons, maybe?
Everyone wants
please.
Everyone wants Saru to be captain. All the audience, everyone wants Saru to be captain, but in all fairness, he's just not ready. He never was ready to be captain.
You have to remember, she's only a commander, and she's pretty terrible.
She's Mother Michael, so that's different.
She's Mother Michael, right? She's the one that owns things. Like everything.
She's not Mother Michael yet. We haven't gotten to the end.
Did you guys pick up on the fact that Sarek just casually drops that he contacted?
You look very
wait. What happened? What did you say?
I said you look very handsome when you're doing this.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Sarek, talking to Burnham, casually drops that he contacted like High Chancellor Laurel and asked her about the red burst, and she's like, don't give a fuck. But like he contacted Laurel, like, just,
I have too much to do
what's up?
with governing the Klingon Empire.
Yeah, dollar food.
Hey, remember that time I accepted to like blow up your planet and annihilate your species? Yeah, it doesn't matter. Have you seen those red bursts?
Can hand you a bomb to threaten your people, and then they just walk away. Yeah. I need help doing this.
Yeah. She was just some idiot. Now she's High Chancellor Laurel. Like,
she was just some idiot. Now she's just some idiot with power.
Yeah. This actually is not to be accurate. Never mind. That sounds actually pretty normal.
These things happen in other people's lives, and now they're happening in mine.
The difference is she's a strong female character in Discovery, so she won't do anything wrong.
She's done so much wrong. What are you talking about?
I know she's done so much wrong, but
what are you what are you saying?
She's very proud to be a role model for.
That's the actress. The actress is proud to be a role model. Not Laurel. Laurel probably would be like, I am the worst role model. I want to drink your blood.
I really hope so.
To cut your throat and drink your blood.
She has to die. She has to die this season.
Wouldn't you be proud if like thousands of kids were like, "Holy shit! I know she's a bitch, but I love Laurel." Like, like you'd be like, it's got to be like insane. Not kids, but maybe teenagers, or maybe people like us are reaching out to her. I don't know. It's thousands, though.
That's very true. Is it inappropriate if I just hold the microphone in my hand now? Is that
I have to always do this because my gain is set so low. You guys, that's my
secret. Not that. It's because I can't get any closer because I have this goddamn cat in my lap.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I know, cats.
There's a contradiction between the tech that they use also, I gotta be honest, because they have the pattern enhancers from like the TNG pattern enhancers are essentially like a long dildo with a light.
Oh, they remind me of those standing warmers they put outside at like restaurants. You know what I'm talking about? That's what they look like. That's what they look like. That's what they are.
A pleasure device.
Yeah.
It's like the first thing that comes to your mind. And it's varying sizes. This one was a long dildo. The last one was a spiky dildo.
Yeah, a lot of sex going on up there.
Like,
Trek on the lube, I think, is what it should be called.
good grief, man. Is there something you want? I sense the story is not complete, Burnham. Should you want to speak about it, I will avail myself. You gave me this, by the way. I shall avail myself of you.
I shall avail myself, dude. Come on, is your universal translator not working or some shit? Anyway,
I shall avail myself. Why is it Arthur? Like, what is this? What?
God. Anyway,
Michael, one time your mother and I walked in on you and Spock in one of your mind meld sessions, and we were very embarrassed about it. Is there something more to this?
We're hanging and banging, brother.
Alex, that's Cyborg, by the way. That's not Spock.
We're hanging and banging, brother.
Poor teenage Cyborg. He must have hated Spock. He must have been so annoyed by him.
I can't.
All they do in that room is sitting there and fucking finger banging each other. This is ridiculous.
Could it be that the House of Sarek is super dysfunctional? I think it could. I think it's
pretty much established that the House of Sarek has always been very dysfunctional.
It's a fucking house.
The only normal person is Amanda Grayson.
That's actually incorrect. She's the one that's making it crazy. She's like, another child, Sarek. Perfect. That will do nicely.
She's on a mission. She's on a mission to screw up every child in the galaxy.
Oh my God, no, please.
Human females.
No, don't do this to my mind. I can never forget these concepts once they're introduced.
And he's not like,
what they do is they create fucked up children, but they make them really smart so that they'll be very important in the grand scheme of things.
Wow, Game of Thrones, Star Trek.
Yeah, remember that chaos is a ladder. God.
But that's okay because Mother Michael will fix everything in the end and reset the timeline. It'll be all right. She'll say, "Don't worry, the timeline is safe here."
Okay, so the EV suits looked a bit Power Rangers, didn't they?
Yes, I say, but they also look like something from the JJ universe to me.
They also look very Kelvin. They look like Kelvin Power Rangers.
And this speeding through asteroids is, I admit, also something that reminds me of the JJ universe, like almost shot.
But not like like the kind of bad part of Into Darkness.
I like
the cringy Beyond music scene.
As you know, in VR, as close to VR as you can get. That was like the fourth time.
I think Nick is absent at this point.
He's doing something with his cat. Leave him alone.
He's sending messages on our private Twitter, on our Subspace channel.
Oh. Yeah. Am I meant to see this? Hold on.
You're probably meant to see this because it's your Subspace channel.
Oh, geez.
It's your frequency. Come on.
Well, in the meantime, do we have any other things that we love before we get to all the other nitpicking?
Okay, I just want to say that I'm conflicted a bit by this episode because I enjoyed myself, but I'm also frustrated with a lot of things that Discovery does. But I think that's just a recurring thing. I am intrigued to see where it goes. Where the story goes, but then I don't know. It's at this point I'm more excited about Picard. I'm more excited about Lower Decks, and Discovery is just kind of it's what I'm getting in the meantime, right?
I hear you. I finally found the message at the same time. I was trying to multitask, but I heard you. Nick, come back to us whenever.
Come back to us, Nick. Oh, yeah, well, he needs to come back before we do the ratings, right? So now we need to find something else to say before we do the ratings.
Well, since it's just you and I, can you just tell me again what your final conclusion was there that you said?
Oh my God! You weren't multitasking. You were writing and you didn't listen to me.
I didn't listen to you, and I'm so sorry. That was the worst thing ever. I try never to do that. You know, I'm usually very engaged.
You're horrible.
Old man Picard doesn't have the attention span that the young man Picard had.
So, in the episode, Mashallah Ali is investigating the disappearance of 2 children, and it's very intriguing. And I couldn't stop thinking about True Detective as I was watching Star Trek Discovery.
Wow. That's like the worst thing ever. I can't wait to hear what your rating is. Nick, if you're back, you go next for the rating so we don't lose you. You guys already know mine is a 10. But
You're fucking kidding me, right?
I have a closing thought. I do. It's a 10.
Okay, I gotta go in like 5 minutes.
All right, give your rating, god damn it.
Okay, I give this episode a 6.
Let's ask Nick what his rating is on
the chat, on the Twitter chat. Okay, on the subspace frequencies. Come on,
frequency.
Communicate with us.
What is your rating? We are wrapping up.
Yeah, I gave it a 6. It's not a bad episode. It's just okay. It's not groundbreaking. And it is a bit too close to what season 1 delivered us for the moment. But it is much better than many of those terrible season 1 episodes. It's just that I feel like they don't really care about a lot of things, right? They don't. I don't know. The Enterprise was supposed to be completely broken down, but it arrived at like with all its lights on, and it had life support, and it had they could communicate and they could transport people. 50 Spock beards. Give us a real rating. Come on.
You argue with them when it's my turn to talk. Go on.
Speak.
I think that the ill-fated young ensign or whatever, or Lieutenant Connolly, I think his lieutenant was his rank. Ranks don't matter, as Pike says. Said it best when he says, "I love a roller coaster." And right now, it seems like it's like the highest it's ever been because season 1 was so bad for me. Like overall, there were a few, like the thing that I think the reason for my very high rating, which many people probably think is unreasonable to say that this episode is a 10, but the reason for that high rating for me personally, which is what I always base my ratings on, not like what others are going to think, is that it was such a well of refreshingness after this kind of like lacking show that was presented in season 1. So even this as a pilot, like I wrote on Twitter, my initial kind of thought that I could organize after I watched it was that it felt like I was watching the first episode of Star Trek Discovery. I could have skipped the whole first season. In fact,
but this is the third time we've said that. You realize that?
What's that?
This is the third time we've said this, because we said it for the pilot, and then we said it for episode 3, which was the new pilot because it starts on Discovery, and then.
This is the official time, Sean.
Okay, this is the official time.
This is the first time it's official. Official Starfleet boy canon.
I see what you mean. If this were the actual pilot of Discovery, it would have been hands down the best pilot ever for Star Trek.
Yes.
And it would have had me really hype for like if this was the first season of Discovery, I would have been really hyped. The problem is it does come with baggage. And you can't just ignore it. As much as you want to, you can't. Right?
And they're not ignoring it, though. I think that like
they're acknowledging it. They had it last time on, like they had the last season.
They're bringing in some elements. We know we're going to see L'Rell again. So, I mean, I think that nothing is unfixable. You know, like I think that like at this stage of the show, it's like something that like can evolve. It's still evolving. I mean, think about it. Like season 1 of TNG, which also was pretty shitty in its first.
TNG isn't that bad, but the first season still is shit, and it wasn't fixed by the rest of it.
Right. So what? So if TNG, which is this hallowed show that everyone loves, can have flaws, I also am open to like Discovery having flaws. But I'm actually really excited for the first time in a while where I'm like, oh, okay, I actually want to see where. Like it's what Nick said earlier. I kind of summed it up for me best too. It was like he didn't dread doing the notes for it, and I feel like that to me is like huge considering how Discovery has fared so far throughout season 1, with a few exceptions, which you know are bright stars. There's 7 red beautiful bright moments in season 1 that they could bring into season 2. But I love it. I think it's exciting. I still have the same exact qualms I've always had with prequel shows, which is one, there's no danger. There's no sense of like Spock is gonna die, or you know,
you're not afraid for Pike's life. You know what happens to him.
Yeah, like you know what happens to him. There's all these like things, and then B, you know, this is again a very personal problem, but just like I just don't think it looks the way Star Trek should look. But that's not something that I have any, you know, that's not something that I would prevent me from watching this show, as far as from watching this episode is concerned. I'm really excited. Like, I'm hoping season 2 like just makes me keep forgiving those two major incongruities, and I get that vibe. So 10 from Sohail. Good effort. Okay. All right, okay. And then 50. Oh, give us a real rating 1 through 10. Nothing from Ketwalski. So you guys will have to just go over to his channel and try to make an assessment of how he feels based on his content. And I say the same thing for Sean's. He hasn't put his video up yet, I don't think, right?
Not yet. No. I could have worked on it today, but you know, I was doing this.
I appreciate it. This is we love you for that.
All right. I'm off.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me on this discussion, and we'll live long and prosper, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.
That was not